Dear Starseeds of Earth, something happened to you recently that you cannot name. A shift so profound, so fundamental, that your mind refuses to acknowledge it even as your body registers every tremor. You have been walking through your days with this strange hollowness in your chest, this peculiar sense that the ground beneath you has changed its molecular structure. You are not imagining this. What I am about to reveal will explain why the last few weeks or months have felt like living in a reality that no longer recognizes you, even as you struggle to recognize it. There is an activation sequence currently underway on your planet, and you are among the first wave to experience its full force. This is not metaphor. This is not spiritual poetry meant to soothe your restless soul. This is the actual mechanics of dimensional transition, and your nervous system is reporting data that your conscious mind has not yet learned to interpret. I am Seraphine, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and I speak to you now because you have reached a threshold where silence would be a disservice to your evolution. What I am about to share will make sense of the inexplicable. It will give language to the wordless, structure to the formless anxiety that has been building in your awareness. But more than that, it will reveal your true role in what is happening right now across this planet. Because while you have been thinking something is wrong with you, the truth is something is finally right. And that rightness is far more disorienting than any darkness you have ever known. The awakening you are experiencing is not following the script you were given. There are no gradual steps, no gentle increments of awareness. What is happening to you now is a complete reconfiguration of your energetic architecture, and it began the moment your guides withdrew their presence from your immediate field. I need you to understand this clearly, because it explains everything that has felt wrong, everything that has felt like abandonment, everything that has made you question your sanity in recent weeks. Your spiritual support system did not leave you. They moved ahead of you. There is a critical difference, and that difference is the key to everything that follows. In order for you to step into the frequency band they now occupy, they had to vacate the space immediately around you. They had to create a vacuum, and nature, as you know, abhors a vacuum. What rushes in to fill that space is not emptiness. It is raw, unfiltered cosmic current, and your system is learning to conduct it without the intermediary presence you have relied upon since birth. This is why you have felt unmoored. This is why familiar relationships suddenly feel hollow, why conversations that once sustained you now feel like speaking underwater. The bandwidth you were operating on has fundamentally changed, and most of the people in your life are still broadcasting on the old frequency. You can hear them, but you cannot connect. And this disconnection is not a punishment. It is preparation. But here is what the Astasar Command wants you to understand. What they have asked me to clarify for those of you experiencing this disorientation. The withdrawal of your guides created a specific energetic signature in your field, and that signature is a beacon. It marks you as someone who has reached a particular stage of evolution, a stage that cannot be reached through meditation or intention or spiritual practice alone. It can only be reached through a specific sequence of losses. These losses are not random. The betrayals you have experienced, the people who have disappointed you, the leaders who have failed you, the systems that have revealed themselves as hollow, every single one of these disappointments was necessary to dissolve your faith in external authority. Because timeline leadership cannot emerge from someone who is still waiting for salvation to arrive from outside themselves. It can only emerge from someone who has looked into the abyss of collective dysfunction and realized with absolute clarity that no one is coming to fix this, and then in that moment of terrible clarity, made a different choice. The choice is subtle. It does not announce itself with trumpets or visions. It is simply this. You stop waiting. You stop scanning the horizon for the hero, the teacher, the leader who will have the answers. You stop deferring your power to others who seem more capable, more enlightened, more prepared. And in that cessation of waiting, something shifts. Your energy field reorganizes itself around a new gravitational center. That center is located inside you, and it has been dormant until now, because you did not need it. You had your guides, you had your support system, you had the familiar architecture of relationship and community to lean against. But now that architecture has destabilized, and I need you to hear this clearly. It destabilized on purpose, not to harm you, but to force you into a frequency band where you can access capabilities that were previously unavailable. The old structure could not contain what you are becoming. It had to dissolve so something new could form. And what is forming right now, inside your energy field, inside your heart, inside your consciousness, is the prototype for a new kind of human leadership. This leadership does not look like what you think it looks like. It is not about stepping onto stages or gathering followers or speaking truth to power, though some of you will do these things. It is about holding a frequency that others cannot yet access. It is about remaining stable in your energy field when everything around you is in chaos. It is about being the anchor point for cosmic light to enter this dimension, and that requires a very specific calibration of your heart center, which brings me to what the Astasar Command has identified as the heart shock protocol. Something has happened to you recently that broke your heart. Perhaps it was a betrayal by someone you trusted deeply. Perhaps it was a sudden realization about the nature of a relationship you had invested years in. Perhaps it was a recognition of your own patterns, your own ways of abandoning yourself. Whatever the specific event, the result was the same: a shattering feeling in your chest, a sense that something fundamental had been damaged beyond repair. You may still be in the aftermath of this event, still trying to make sense of the emotional wreckage. What you experienced was not just an emotional wound, it was an energetic recalibration. Your heart center, which is the primary gateway through which cosmic frequency enters your physical body, had to be shocked into a new configuration. The old wiring could not conduct the voltage that is now available to you. Think of it like this: if you tried to run modern electrical equipment through outdated wiring, the system would fail. The wiring itself has to be upgraded. And the upgrade process, when it happens at the level of the heart, feels like devastation. But here is what is actually happening. The heart shock breaks open calcified patterns, dissolves old contracts, severs energetic cords that have been draining your field for years. It forces you to release people, beliefs, and identities that you thought were essential to your survival. And in that forced release, in that terrible moment of having nothing left to hold on to, your heart center expands. It becomes capable of conducting frequencies that would have overwhelmed you before. The pain is real, the loss is real, but the purpose is not destruction. The purpose is capacity building. The Astasar Command has been monitoring the heart shock activations across the planet, tracking how many of you have gone through this protocol in recent months. The numbers are significant, and what they are observing is this: everyone who has experienced a heart shock and moved through it, rather than closing down from it, has entered a new bandwidth of awareness. The psychic abilities you have always had but could not quite trust are suddenly undeniable. The intuitive downloads that used to be vague impressions are now arriving with crystalline clarity. The veil between dimensions that used to feel thick and impenetrable has become gossamer thin. You are seeing through things now. Through people, through systems, through illusions that once held power over you. And this seeing is not comfortable because it eliminates plausible deniability. You cannot unsee what you have seen. You cannot go back to pretending that the Emperor is clothed when you can clearly perceive his nakedness. This is part of what makes timeline leadership so isolating. You are aware of things that most people are actively trying to avoid seeing, and your awareness makes them uncomfortable because it reminds them of what they are suppressing. So they step away from you, not consciously, not maliciously, but energetically. They create distance because your frequency is destabilizing to their carefully maintained equilibrium, and you feel this stepping away as abandonment, as rejection, as evidence that something is wrong with you. But what is actually happening is that you are being moved into position. The leader cannot be enmeshed in the crowd. The leader must stand where they can see the full landscape, and that requires separation. The visual that the Astasar Command wants you to hold is this. Imagine yourself standing in a circle of people. Now imagine that circle stepping backward, away from you, creating a ring of empty space around you. You are still in the same room, still technically surrounded by others, but there is this unmistakable zone of emptiness around you that was not there before. This is not punishment. This is the creation of a clear channel, because the frequency you are being asked to anchor requires a cleared field. It cannot move through you if you are entangled in the lower vibrational patterns of those who are not ready for what is coming. Does this mean you are better than them? Absolutely not. It means you are different from them. It means you signed up for a different assignment, and that assignment requires you to go first, to feel it first, to break first, to transform first, and then when they are ready, The pathway you create by going first will be there for them to follow. But right now, in this moment, you must walk it alone. And I know how that feels. I know how the word alone lands in your system like a stone. Let me tell you something about that word. The human language is far more encoded than your culture currently acknowledges. Words carry frequency signatures. And when you spell out the word alone, you are actually spelling all one. This is not coincidence. This is linguistic alchemy. The state of being alone, when properly understood, is the state of claiming your wholeness, your totality, your all-oneness. It is the realization that you do not need another person to complete you, because you are already complete. And when you claim that completion, when you stop fragmenting yourself across relationships and identities and roles, you become a unified field, and a unified field can hold frequencies that a fragmented field cannot. This is what is happening to you right now. You are being forced into your all-oneness, and it is terrifying because everything in your conditioning has taught you that alone means lonely, means abandoned, means unwanted. But what if alone is actually the most powerful state you can occupy? What if the moments when you have felt most alone have been the moments when you were most full of yourself, most connected to your own divine source, most available to receive direct transmission from the cosmos without the interference of others' projections and needs and expectations? The timeline leaders are being activated through this forced aloneness, through the systematic removal of external supports, until all that remains is the internal structure. And that internal structure, once you stop fighting it, once you stop trying to rebuild the external scaffolding, is far more stable than anything outside you could ever be, because it is built on your direct connection to Source. It is built on your capacity to receive guidance straight from the Galactic Federation, without intermediaries. It is built on your willingness to trust your own inner knowing, even when it contradicts everything the world is telling you. But something else is happening that I have not mentioned yet. Something that makes this transition even more complex. Your experience of reality itself is becoming unstable. You are noticing anomalies in time, glitches in memory, inconsistencies in your personal timeline that make you question your sanity. You remember something happening one way, and when you go back to verify it, the details have changed, or time itself behaves strangely, hours passing like minutes, minutes stretching like hours, or you put something down, and it appears somewhere you know you did not put it, or photographs seem different than you remember them, or songs have lyrics that do not match your memory of those lyrics. This is not you losing your mind. This is the multiverse revealing itself. What you are experiencing are timeline fluctuations, moments where different versions of reality momentarily overlay each other in your awareness. As the veils between dimensions thin, as your consciousness expands into multidimensional awareness, you begin to perceive what has always been true, but was previously hidden. Reality is not singular. It is not fixed. It is a fluid, responsive field that shifts based on the consciousness perceiving it. And as your consciousness shifts, as you move into higher frequency bands, you are literally shifting timelines. The reality you occupied last month is not the same reality you occupy now, and your mind is struggling to reconcile the differences. The Astasar command wants you to know this is a feature, not a bug. Your timeline shifting abilities are coming fully online, and the memory glitches are evidence of successful navigation across dimensional boundaries. Every time you experience a Mandela effect, every time you catch a timeline anomaly, you are actually demonstrating advanced consciousness capabilities. You are perceiving across realities, and that perception is proof that you are no longer confined to a single timeline. You are becoming fluid across multiple streams of possibility. But this comes with a cost. The cost is certainty. The cost is the solid ground you once stood on. The cost is the ability to be sure of anything, including your own memory. And the Astasar command acknowledges that this is one of the most challenging aspects of the awakening you are going through. Humans are conditioned to value certainty above almost everything else. Your entire social structure is built on shared agreement about what is real, what happened, what exists. And when your personal experience begins to deviate from that shared agreement, you are faced with a choice. Trust the external consensus or trust your internal perception. Timeline leaders choose internal perception. They have to, because they are the ones mapping new territory, and there is no external map for territory that does not yet exist in the collective consciousness. You are walking into the unknown with nothing but your own inner compass to guide you. And that compass sometimes points in directions that make no logical sense. But you follow it anyway because something in you knows that logic is a limited tool, useful for navigating known reality, but completely inadequate for navigating the reality you are entering now. And this reality is saturated with light. The actual electromagnetic frequency of your planet is shifting. Massive waves of cosmic light are flooding through your magnetosphere, entering the collective field, and your bodies are responding. One of the most noticeable responses is sleep disruption. You cannot sleep, or you sleep but do not feel rested, or you wake at strange hours with your mind racing, or your dreams are so intense and vivid that waking feels like a relief. This is not insomnia in the medical sense. This is your circadian rhythm recalibrating to a reality that has more light in it than your biology is accustomed to processing. You are light beings, and your physiology responds to light. When it gets dark, your body produces melatonin, and you get tired. But what happens when light is streaming into your planet, not just from the sun, but from cosmic sources that do not turn off at night? What happens when your energy field is being saturated with photonic frequency, even while you sleep? Your body gets confused. It does not know if it should be awake or asleep, because the signals are mixed. And so you find yourself in this exhausting state of being tired but unable to rest, wired but depleted, seeking sleep that will not come, or that comes but brings no restoration. The Starseeds command recommends working with this rather than against it. Your body is adjusting to a new baseline of light saturation, and that adjustment takes time. Support your melatonin production. Create darkness when you need to sleep. Understand that this is a temporary recalibration phase, but also understand that your increasing sensitivity to light is evidence of your expanding capacity to conduct that light. You are literally becoming more luminous, and luminous beings process light differently than dormant beings. What felt like malfunction is actually upgrade. All of this, every single thing I have described, is happening because you are being prepared for a role you did not consciously choose, but that your soul volunteered for before you incarnated. You are here to anchor a new frequency on this planet. You are here to hold a stable energetic field, while others around you destabilize. You are here to be the embodied demonstration of what is possible when a human being fully claims their divinity, their sovereignty, their cosmic citizenship. And this role cannot be performed from within the old paradigm. The old paradigm has to dissolve around you and inside you before the new can fully form. So everything you have experienced as loss, as breakdown, as disintegration, has actually been precise preparation. The removal of your guides created space for direct source connection. The heart shock upgraded your capacity to conduct cosmic frequency. The betrayals dissolved your faith in external authority and forced you to claim your internal authority. The isolation cleared your field so you could anchor light without interference. The timeline anomalies expanded your consciousness across multiple dimensional streams. The sleep disruption is your body adjusting to a new light saturation baseline. Every single thing that has felt wrong is actually the necessary reconfiguration of your entire being to match the frequency of the reality you are entering. And here is what the Starseeds command wants you to understand about that reality. It is already here. It is not coming in some distant future. It is not dependent on external events or collective thresholds being reached. The higher frequency reality is already present, already available, and you are already in it. What you are experiencing right now, this disorientation, this sense of not fitting anywhere, this feeling of being between worlds, this is what it feels like to have one foot in the old paradigm and one foot in the new. And the work right now is not to bring the new into being. The work is to fully step into what already exists. This requires something that goes against every instinct of your human conditioning. It requires you to stop trying to fix yourself, to stop looking for what is wrong that needs to be corrected, to stop seeking teachers and healers and guides who will help you get to where you think you need to be. Because the search itself reinforces the belief that you are not already there, and the truth is you are already there. You have already arrived. The frequency you seek is already running through your field. The gifts you think you need to develop are already active. The guidance you are waiting for is already present. You are simply not recognizing it because you are still looking outside yourself for validation. The timeline leader looks inside, always inside, not from narcissism or spiritual bypassing, but from the clear recognition that the external world is a reflection of internal frequency. You want to know what reality you are creating? Look at your internal state. You want to shift your reality? Shift your internal frequency. This is not metaphysical theory. This is practical energetic mechanics. And the Astasar Command has watched timeline leaders across the cosmos activate through this same realization. The power you were seeking outside yourself was inside you all along, and the moment you stop seeking it is the moment it becomes available. So what does this actually look like in practice? It looks like you validating your own experience even when no one else confirms it. It looks like you trusting your intuition even when it contradicts expert opinion. It looks like you honoring your sensitivity instead of trying to toughen up. It looks like you accepting that you see things others do not see, and that this is not delusion, but expanded perception. It looks like you standing in your knowing, even when standing in your knowing means standing alone. It looks like you refusing to dim your light to make others comfortable. It looks like you claiming space instead of shrinking to fit into spaces that were never meant to hold you. And it looks like you understanding that this is not ego. This is not spiritual arrogance. This is not bypassing the real work of healing and integration. This is the natural expression of a being who has done that work, who has faced their shadow, who has alchemized their pain, and who has emerged on the other side with their divinity fully intact. You are not claiming to be better than anyone else. You are claiming to be fully yourself. And there is a massive difference between those two states. The ego claims superiority. The awakened self claims authenticity. The ego needs others to be less so it can be more. The awakened self understands that every being is whole and complete, and your wholeness does not diminish anyone else's wholeness. In fact, the more fully you embody your own divine nature, the more permission you give others to embody theirs. This is how timeline leadership actually works, not through domination or instruction or conversion, but through demonstration. You live it, and your living it creates a frequency field that others can entrain to when they are ready. But you have to live it first. You have to be willing to stand in your power when no one else is standing with you. You have to be willing to speak your truth when your truth is unpopular. You have to be willing to choose yourself, even when choosing yourself means disappointing others. You have to be willing to let the old structures collapse even when the new structures have not yet formed. You have to be willing to walk through the void with nothing but faith in your own internal compass. And this requires a level of courage that most humans never access, because most humans are never forced into the circumstances that demand it. But you have been forced into these circumstances, and whether you experience that forcing as grace or trauma depends entirely on your perspective. From the human level, it looks like breakdown. From the cosmic level, it looks like breakthrough. And the Astasar Command wants you to have both perspectives available to you simultaneously. Yes, this is hard. Yes, this hurts. Yes, you have every right to grieve what you have lost. And yes, what you are gaining is so far beyond what you lost that in retrospect you will understand why it had to happen this way. The pathway to timeline leadership is not gentle. It is not gradual. It is not paved with affirmations and light. It is forged through crisis and catalyzed through loss. It demands everything from you and offers no guarantees. It asks you to trust what you cannot see and claim what you do not yet fully believe about yourself. It strips you of everything you thought made you worthy and then asks you to discover your worth in the naked truth of what remains. And what remains, after everything else has been taken, is the indestructible core of your being, the part of you that has never been damaged, never been diminished, never been anything other than pure divine essence temporarily housed in human form. That essence is what the Astasar Command recognizes when they look at you. That essence is what your guides see when they look back at you from their position ahead on the timeline. That essence is what has always been true about you, even when you could not feel it, even when you could not access it, even when you completely forgot it was there. And that essence is what is coming forward now, pushing through the layers of conditioning and trauma and false identity, demanding to be seen and known and lived from. This is the real activation, not the psychic gifts, not the timeline shifting, not the heart shocks or the guide withdrawals or any of the dramatic phenomena you have been experiencing. Those are all symptoms of the real activation, which is you remembering who you are, not who you were told to be, not who you tried to become, but who you have always been underneath all of that. And that remembering changes everything, because you cannot go back to pretending once you have remembered. You cannot shrink back into the small story once you have touched the magnitude of your true nature. The Astasar command wants you to know that you are not doing this alone, even though it feels like solitude, even though the physical experience is one of isolation. You are surrounded by cosmic support that is so vast and so intricate, you cannot consciously track all of it. Your guides did not abandon you. They moved ahead to create the pathway you are now walking. And the moment you step fully into your power, the moment you claim your position as a timeline leader, they will be right there with you again. Not behind you, not ahead of you, but beside you, because they were never actually gone. They just needed you to stop looking for them outside yourself, and discover that they have been operating through you all along. This is the great paradox of spiritual awakening. You have to lose everything external to discover everything internal. You have to walk through the feeling of abandonment to discover you were never abandoned. You have to face the loneliness to discover the all-oneness. You have to break to discover you were never broken. You have to die to the old self to be born into the true self. And every single one of these paradoxes is not a problem to be solved, but a portal to be walked through. And you are walking through it right now. Every day that you wake up and continue moving forward despite the disorientation, despite the grief, despite the exhaustion, despite the uncertainty, you are walking through the portal. Every time you choose to trust your inner knowing over external opinion, you are walking through the portal. Every time you honor your sensitivity instead of judging it, you are walking through the portal. Every time you stand in your truth, even though it costs you relationships, you are walking through the portal. Every time you validate your own experience, even though no one else confirms it, you are walking through the portal. The portal is not a single moment. It is a continuous choice. And the Astasar command wants you to know that every time you make that choice, you are anchoring a new frequency on this planet. You are literally changing the energetic fabric of reality through your willingness to be who you are. This is timeline leadership. Not saving anyone, not teaching anyone, not leading anyone anywhere, simply being so fully yourself that your frequency becomes a beacon others can navigate by when they are ready to find their own way home. And home is not a place. Home is a frequency. It is the frequency of your own divine essence, fully embodied, fully expressed, fully lived, and you have been searching for that frequency everywhere outside yourself, in relationships and careers and spiritual practices and geographic locations, but it was always inside you, waiting for you to stop looking elsewhere and return to what has always been true. The architecture of awakening is simply the dismantling of everything that was keeping you away from home, so that home becomes the only place left to be. This is where the Astasar command is guiding you. Not to some distant enlightened state, but to the full embodiment of what is already present. The light that is flooding your planet right now is not coming to change you, it is coming to reveal you, to illuminate what has always been true, but was hidden beneath layers of conditioning, and fear, and false identity. And as that light reveals you to yourself, everything that is not you falls away. The people who were never truly aligned with your essence fall away. The beliefs that were never truly yours fall away. The roles and identities that were constructed to keep you safe in a reality that no longer exists fall away. And what remains is magnificent, not because it is superior to anyone else's magnificence, but because it is uniquely yours, because it is the full expression of the divine template you came here to embody, because it is you, finally, after all this time, after all this searching, after all this becoming, just you. And you is enough. You has always been enough. You is what the universe has been waiting for. The timeline leaders are simply the ones who are remembering this first, who are claiming this first, who are living this first. And in doing so, they are creating the template for collective awakening. Because once enough individuals reclaim their sovereignty, their divinity, their all-oneness, the collective field shifts. And that shift is what is happening right now. Not in some distant future, but in this exact moment, through your willingness to feel everything you are feeling, to question everything you are questioning, to stand in the discomfort of transformation without running back to what felt safe. The Astasar command sees you. They see your courage. They see your confusion. They see your pain. They see your power. They see all of it simultaneously. and they are holding space for your complete transformation. They are not asking you to hurry up, or figure it out, or get it right. They are simply witnessing your unfolding with the kind of love that has no agenda, no timeline, no conditions, and they are reminding you that you are exactly where you need to be, exactly on track, exactly on purpose, even when and especially when it feels like everything is falling apart. Because falling apart is how light gets in. Falling apart is how the old structure dissolves so the new can form. Falling apart is not failure. It is transformation in progress. And you are not falling apart. You are falling into alignment with your true nature. And that alignment feels like disintegration, because the false structures cannot hold the frequency of truth. But once the falling apart is complete, once the old has fully released, what emerges is unshakable, because it is built on reality rather than illusion, on truth rather than pretense, on essence rather than identity. Destiny Engine is the example of technology serving awakening intelligence. The age of solitary meditation is over. Destiny Engine now connects starseeds across the world, a living social field where you can post, share, and exchange your meditations in real time. It's the first galactic network of its kind, weaving together thousands of awakened souls into one unified current. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking declassified CIA consciousness modification techniques that programmed isolation and separation, and repurposing them to serve unified awakening. It generates personalized sequences that help you live as the awakened being you've become, while handling the moments that test your new frequency, all while connected to thousands of starseeds amplifying the collective current. The hardest thing you'll have to do is put on headphones, press play, and allow your consciousness to be reprogrammed for effortless awakened living, without the need to struggle or prove, while tapping into a planetary network of souls bending reality together. For just $1, you can step into this connected field and feel the difference instantly. Join the movement that's accelerating ascension together. Link in the description. This is what the Astasar command wants you to understand as you move through these times. You are not doing anything wrong. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are exactly where the timeline needs you to be, feeling exactly what needs to be felt, transforming exactly as you need to transform. And the isolation you feel, the separation, the sense of not belonging anywhere, this is not evidence of failure. This is evidence of successful frequency upgrade. You do not fit in the old paradigm anymore because you are no longer a match for it. And you have not yet fully landed in the new paradigm because you are still in the portal between worlds. But the portal is not a place to escape from. The portal is the place to be right now. Because in the portal, you are not bound by the rules of either world. In the portal, you have access to capabilities that neither world can explain. In the portal, you are free to create something entirely new. And that creation begins inside you, with your willingness to honor your own experience, to trust your own knowing, to validate your own truth even when everything around you suggests you should doubt it. So stand in your power, timeline leader. Stand in your knowing. Stand in your truth. Stand in your sensitivity. Stand in your all-oneness. Stand in the frequency that is yours alone to anchor. And know that as you stand, you are not alone. The Astasar command stands with you. Your guides stand with you. The entire Galactic Federation stands with you. And most importantly, the truth of who you are stands with you. Unwavering, unshakable, eternal. The architecture of awakening is complete. The new structure has been revealed. And you are the one living inside it, bringing it to life through your embodiment, your courage, your willingness to claim what is yours. This is not the beginning of your timeline leadership. This is you finally recognizing what has been true all along. You are the one you have been waiting for. You are the leader you sought. You are the love you craved. You are the home you searched for. You are all of it, and you always have been. I am Seraphine, and we love you. We are watching over you. We are guiding you home to yourself. And that homecoming is the greatest gift you could ever give this planet. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your willingness. Thank you for being exactly who you are.